Welcome to the Weekly Square with me, Mduduzi Brian Lunga. This is where we keep you up to date by bringing some of the top headlines from the African continent. I'll be looking after this baby for Natasha while she gets some well-earned rest over the next few weeks. We keep up with what's happening in the great African continent so that you don't have to. The date of this recording is Friday, the 21st of April, 2023. Let's dive in. We'll kick off our headlines with the current war that is happening in Sudan. At present moment, the US military is preparing to actually go into Sudan and try and evacuate some diplomats that are in the American embassy in Sudan. To give you context of what has been happening, over 240 civilians have now lost their lives, including one American, hence why the move from the US military. The relationship between the two countries was slightly improving after frosty relations dating back to around the 1950s. Why should the Sudanese conflict be of interest globally, one would wonder. The conflict has serious geopolitical ramifications because countries such as Saudi Arabia, Russia, USA, China, and of course including the EU have strong ties with both Sudan and South Sudan. And with those ties, they are all supporting different parts of the country, to put it in very simple terms. Now, we have to wait and see how this plays out over the next few weeks, over the next few months. But it is our sincere hope, I think, here that the conflict ends soon. Otherwise, we will see how devastating it can be, not only for Sudan, but the region of East Africa and the global community at large. Moving on now to Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe has ruled out ditching its local currency as the use of the dollar in the country's economy soars. Close to about 80% of transactions in the Zimbabwean economy are done using the US dollar. Now, to give you more context on this, the Zimbabwean dollar has lost more than 40% of its value on the official market this year. Look at it this way. The highest denomination of the local unit is the Zimbabwe $100 note. This is equivalent to about 10 cents in US dollar terms. The finance minister, Thuli Ncube, on Friday said, and I quote, "Zimbabwe is very clear. The currency for transaction is the Zimbabwe dollar and the US dollar, and we are very comfortable with that. For now, the Zimbabwe dollar exists." Close quote. Now, this could also be seen as a way of the Zimbabwean economy generating much needed foreign currency within the economy. Now, I would love to hear from people that are in Zimbabwe at the moment. Which one do you use the most, the Zimbabwean dollar or the US dollar? Which one is much more accessible to you? Would love to hear all these answers. So do get in touch with us if you would like to give us those answers. Now, slightly moving on to the diaspora. Study finds that African Americans live longer in counties with more black doctors. The Journal of the American Medical Association finds that black people living in the United States, counties with more black GPs tend to have better positive health outcomes, including in preventative care. Now, it's worth noting that less than 6% of US doctors are black. Now, this ties in very well with the racial injustice in maternity care that has been widely spoken of in the UK over the past few weeks. Why this is critical and important is that we'd love to hear your stories, would love to hear from you if you have been affected by these issues as a black person right across the diaspora. If you have been and you'd love to talk to us, we would love to amplify your story. Please do get in touch with us. Now, moving back onto the African continent. Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni has refused to sign the anti-gay bill into law. He claims that he wants the bill to be a bit stronger than it already is. Now, let's give you some context, as we always do. Currently, the bill states that a death penalty shall be imposed for homosexuality. And the president says he will not give his signature onto it until it is made stronger than that. Now, we've seen a lot of protests right across the continent in Namibia and South Africa, to be of note, that have condemned this bill, saying that homosexuality should not be a crime. The United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, Volker Turk, called the new legislation deeply troubling. Open quotes, he said, if signed into law by the president, it will render lesbian, gay, and bisexual people in Uganda criminals simply for existing, for being who they are. It could provide carte blanche for the systematic violation of nearly all of their human rights and save to incite people against each other. Close quotes. Now, we will keep you up to date with that bill, with how far Parliament is willing to amend the bill and how far the President is willing to push. If there is one conversation within the continent that we know can raise a lot of eyebrows and a lot of division, it is certainly the conversation around LGBTQ rights. I'll be interested to know your thoughts on this. Do you find that Uganda are a bit too tough, or are they a bit too lenient? Your thoughts will be more than welcome. Now, to round us off on a much, much lighter note, a marathon runner has been caught taking a poo in a stranger's garden on a home doorbell video. More context is needed, as always. A runner taking part in the Boston Marathon this week could not ignore his call to nature. Sadly for him, he was caught on a doorbell camera trying to answer to his tummy. Guys, there are cameras everywhere. Please be careful. Now, we would like to get your thoughts on these and other headlines we may not have covered today. Be sure to keep up the conversation going on social media. Please use the hashtag #TheWeeklySquare or chatwithnat. Email chatwithnatshow@gmail.com or follow chatwithnatshow on Instagram. This has been The Weekly Square, a Chat with Nat production, bringing all the headlines from the African continent. And I've been your host, Duduzi Brian Lunga. You take care of yourselves. Have a massive, massive, beautiful week. All the best. Bye-bye.